time for 28mm World War II action. Will you recreate history or reshape it your way? On the Bolt Action Hub at beastsofwar.com. Take control of armies from the 5 kingdoms of Araucania and vie for the throne of the ancient king in Wrath of Kings. Master your skills on the battlefield over on beastsofwar.com.
Hi everybody, welcome to What's in the Box. Today myself and John have a bit of a special one. So, we have actually got our hands on the new Grymkin Core Army box. Now, important thing, this is a Core Army box. This is not a battle box. This is not for a beginner.
No.
Okay? This is designed for people who already play the game, who actually want to get into this army fast.
Yes.
Alright, so there's the first caveat. Has to be said, because otherwise people will complain. My advice. First piece of advice, if you are thinking of collecting Grymkin, grab this book.
First.
Before anything else, grab this book. Not because it's got stats in it, because it actually doesn't, because we've actually moved into the point where Privateer are actually dropping stat cards from being a physical thing. Can still be downloaded, can still be got on the War Room. They are no longer in the book.
Yeah.
This is important. So, pop the box down here, and I will quickly flick through the book. Just a couple of pages. So, there are some rules in here, but the majority of this is going to be pretty fluff and background to actually get you into the actual world.
Yeah.
So here we can see Menoth casting people down into hell.
People and lizards.
Yes. Yes, and small children.
Yeah.
Because Menoth's just like that. That's how he rolls.
That's how Manoth rolls, yeah.
You used to play the faction.
Yeah.
So if I flick on through, we can actually start to see there's some gorgeous artwork in this. And the whole concept with the Grymkin is, these are people who defied Menoth, and so he cast them out of CN. And now the Old Witch has brought them back. So you remember the Old Witch from Kedar?
Yeah.
She has basically opened the gates and allowed them back into the world. So this is her playing the very long game. Anybody who remembers SmogCon will remember that's where the Grymkin were announced. It's nice to see how quickly they're actually landing now. But onward. So, rules-wise. What? This is where the rules start.
I love this page.
This is how rules get written. This looks totally legit.
Yep.
Exactly how rules should be written.
Yeah.
Especially this stat line, because this stat line is amazing.
You want that stat line?
I'm going to read this stat line. So this is for the Gremlin Swarm, right? Speed 99, Strength 2000, Mat 200, Rat 42, Defense 130, Arm 512, and Command 81. Damn, some nasty gremlins. No, this is not a serious one. This is a bit of a piss take artwork.
Of course it is, but still. It kind of looks like Dallas got to it.
Actually, yeah, I kind of can see Dallas just wandering in and finding a piece of beautifully done artwork for this book and just going, nah, I'm bored. I'm going to draw all over this.
Or is it a collaborative effort between Dallas and Hungerford?
Possibly.
I definitely think Hungerford had a hand in this.
Yeah, possibly. But basically from here is where your rules are going to start in this book. And this faction plays very differently to some of the other ones, right? So you're going to be worrying a lot about different sort of tactics and stuff that this force can play against you. Because instead of having one big feat, this faction has what's called trumps. So there's little trigger effects that will happen during your games where the Grymkin are going to suddenly get a bonus because, say, you killed a unit. Oh look, all the rest of my guys are going to want to kill you now!
Yeah.
And things like that. I like the Grymkin. They have a really cool style to them. Just that sort of nightmare world type thing. Alright?
They very much have that when you see the front of the box, don't they?
So, in this box you're going to get essentially 61 points-ish worth of stuff.
It does say on the back of the box 50-point army, but I assume you were using War Room and you've done a few...
Oh yeah, I maxed everything out.
Yeah, you maxed
So if I was maxing this out, about 61 points is where I was fit to get it to. But in the box, so... you get your Warlock, a couple of Heavy War Beasts, Light War Beast, a couple of units, and some solos there, just to get you kicked off.
Yep.
So this is basically the core of what you're going to need for your Grymkin set. Here is something very important. Like I said, this set does not come with stat cards.
Yep.
See this little part of the box here? This is what you want to look at. So you're either going to go to War Room, grab the deck from there, or there is a link to the Privateer website where you can actually download the cards again. Okay?
Yeah.
So... I don't know, this is something that makes me a little nervous, this idea of not putting stat cards in a box.
Yes, but as we've already said, It doesn't matter so much because this hasn't been designed to be
battle box
for a beginner. No, so.
You know, there's a lot more in here than what you would generally get in a battle box, because battle box is normally your battle group, and if you go for one of the upped ones, maybe the 2-player starter set, you're going to get a unit and maybe a solo in there.
Yep.
So this is basically, I want to drop into Grymkin, and I want to start by having a look at some of the models. So these, if you enter the box there, John, just so I can make sure I get the names correct.
Okay. Let's see if it does the noise. No, it didn't do the noise.
No, but it's a smooth box.
It is a smooth box.
Alright, so I believe these are going to be the Dread Rots that I've got here. So these are the guys with the pumpkin heads. And the whole idea behind these guys is really creepy. So, basically, you could be a farmer or something, and let's just say you've led a bad life, and at the moment of death, you're given the option to perhaps survive.
Okay.
And if I remember correctly, I could be getting this completely wrong. Basically, these guys will turn up, drag you out of your house, jam a pumpkin on your head, and then you transform into one of them. So the foot soldiers are actually civilians from the Iron Kingdoms who have been transformed.
Okay, fair enough. That's oddly cool at the same time.
It's the whole idea you're being punished for the sins of your life. You know. Alright, anywho. So we get a lot of these guys in the set. So
it's a 10-man unit, I believe, isn't it?
Yes, it's a full unit, so look at these guys, how creepy they are.
They are very nice.
And this is the first time I've seen the actual ones, because the only ones I had seen before this were the ones that Dallas had converted for his own personal forces. But, oh, they're just so creepy. Now, they all do carry around these big sacks, and you can sort of see like faces and stuff pressed up against the cloth. It's actually a really interesting way they've sculpted them to actually have that little bit of extra detail. That and the weapons they run around with are just big pitchforks.
Class big pitchforks.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with a pitchfork.
No, nothing wrong with a pitchfork. They also get some scythes, so it's all farming implements.
Yeah.
So you can imagine these guys are all just being recruited from the peasantry of the Iron Kingdoms.
Yeah.
And, just so creepy. Now, once we get these built, I think these are going to look fantastic. So, now, because this is a big set, we're going to do something a little different here. John, you have some Ziploc bags, yes?
Yes, I have baggies because I need to keep all the bits together so that when I go and build it, all the parts are going to be together.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be loose.
As we do this, I'm going to be passing the bits to John. I also need to open baggies on camera, which I'm always nervous about.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
It's defying me, John. Just slightly.
See, no problems whatsoever.
Alright. So this next unit has to be my favourite from the box. These are the piggybacks.
Right? Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, go on. Show
so these are essentially armor-wearing pigs who are being carried. As you can see, there's a little dude down the bottom here. Basically, whenever these guys die or get captured, basically it's all about greed for these, right?
Yeah.
And because of their greed, they're meant to bear the weight of that greed. So basically, this demonic pig creature jumps onto their back and rides them around for the rest of eternity. And some of the hats are quite cool. Look at that. Big store in Unshanka.
There is my favourite one in there that I can see. Yes, that's him.
Oh, if I don't throw him.
That's him. Yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
This is just such a creepy thing. And these poor little guys, if you want to have a look at the faces on one of these. I think, have I got it right way around? I believe that's a face. I think that's a face.
Yeah, I think that's a face. He looks a bit too happy.
Well, this is the thing. These pig creatures are just riding around on these, making them bear their weight. The problem is the pigs can talk.
Oh, great.
They can actually speak language noises.
Language noises?
Yes, language noises. If you imagine you're some poor Cadoran soldier in the trench line, and from across the field, I'm coming to get you. Or something more demonic.
Probably something more demonic. Do you want to pass me the bits, or are you?
Well, there's a couple more bits, because these guys are weaponed up as well.
Yeah.
So weapons-wise, they've got essentially big long sticks with lumps of iron on the end.
It's a club or a stave, isn't it?
I'm not exactly sure what you would call this
Mace?
type of weapon.
A large mace? Two-handed mace?
Two-handed mace? Maybe, something.
Polearm, nearly?
Polearm, maybe, but it's not bladed. And then they've got a few different sort of designs for the weapons.
Shields.
And that's one thing, yeah, for the shields. But the weapons have different designs too.
Yeah.
Because you've got the one with the big lump on it.
It's definitely very much like a club, and then that's definitely more of a mace, yeah.
But there's a nice individuality to these. So whenever you're actually painting and working away on them, this is going to look a little bit ramshackle, a little all over the place, but still bound together by the core themes, which I like the idea of. Next up.
I'm loving the idea of them being like nightmare based, essentially, sort of.
That is.
It's like the punishment.
Yeah.
Force.
Yeah. We then have the Rage Cager. Right, this is one of the heavy war beasts. Now, it is a Hordes faction, I will say that, so you will be working with the Fury mechanic. But this guy is huge, and I mean absolutely gigantic, ginormous. That is his upper body.
Yeah.
Basically, this guy is rocking around, carrying cages with people trapped inside. And, right, the details are gorgeous on this as well. Look at the musculature they've done on the legs here. And in and around the sort of leather work. Really nice. I think these are going to be a painter's dream. And then, yeah, of course, we have this persod who's in one of the cages.
Yeah, he's been in there a bit too long.
Little bit. I am only seeing one of them. Also, the face of this guy just looks so angry. Let me call this up.
Yeah, that's almost like an executioner's hood that he's got going on there.
Yeah, or a jailer's.
Yeah,
actually, yeah. That's the whole thing. This guy's essentially just a walking mini prison.
That is the other dude from the other.
Oh, is it?
Cage? Yeah. He's got
right.
Something that goes.
So
on top
he does have
of
a dude for each cage.
Yep.
And then, of course, you have the big sort of armature that he hangs everything off. So this is like, you know, the things that you used to carry milk buckets on, or water buckets.
Yeah.
One of those. Only he's got a couple of cages on it. Creepy. Creepy. I'm interested to see what you can do in game, but I am going to save that for whenever this is all built.
Yeah.
Next up, who do we have here? The Skin and Moans. Not Skin and Bones, Skin and Moans.
Really?
So, from what I remember, this Gribbly runs around flaying people and taking their souls into himself.
Because why not?
Because nightmare fuel. That's the whole point of this army, is because nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
Because the warlocks of this faction were all cast down into hell. They've now escaped, and now it's time for revenge. So this guy is beautifully sculpted. You can see people's faces and stuff just coming through the skin there, where he's actually sewn fresh faces and stuff onto himself. Just the tears in it where the musculature is. I think you could do a really, really nice sort of gory design to this, and the blades look beautiful.
Yeah, they really do.
And then the face is sort of almost mummy-esque.
It's kind of like I've tried to put my face on, but my makeup got messed up on the way to work. So I'm kind of just a little bit messed up today. Not on the top.
No. Bad John.
Too far?
That's a bad John.
Yeah.
No. I love this one. So this is the Witchwood.
Oh yeah, I've seen her on the back of the box there. I thought she looked pretty good.
Mm-hmm. You see, for this particular one, this is sort of that anglerfish idea.
Right.
So, say you get your soldier, you get separated from your unit, and through the darkness of the forest, you see this glow, this light, and it's coming from this tree.
Mm-hmm.
And this particular tree is not a friendly tree. This tree is an angry tree, as you can see by the face here. That is a face. There's the eye, the nose, the other eye, and the mouth. This thing wants to eat you.
See, when you pointed out the mouth was the giant bit in the I thought the mouth was actually the little dot, and I was like, that doesn't look so angry. Oh, look at it, he's so cute. He's got such a small mouth. This is the mouth. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, but this is essentially a horrifying nightmare tree that has came to life. And then you've got, is that fruit growing on it, I think? At the end there, like apples? I think that is.
Yeah, it's like a temptation-esque sort of tree thing that's going on here.
Mm-hmm. And then, speaking of temptation,
the
lure is the soul of a young woman who is sort of beckoning soldiers in, come to me, come to me.
Yeah.
And then you get eaten.
Well, fair enough.
Yeah. Another branch for the top of it, and then the claw hands. If I saw a tree with branches like this, I'm not going near it.
No.
I tell you now, I'm not going near that. Because this thing, it does just look like it wants to eat you. We also get a little baggie with the hangman's noose, a little basket of apples, and a couple other little bits. The little lure's arm.
Yeah.
Because it's a very delicate model next to quite a chunky one.
Nice.
Oh, there's a lot in this box.
Am I going to run out of baggies anytime soon?
Possibly.
We have two more baggies to look at, so there's three. I have 3 baggies left, so that's good. I've managed to count right.
Alright. Next up is the Hollow Men. So these are essentially deserters from the different forces. So you're going to see a mix of sort of armaments in here. You're going to see Kudor, Signar, possibly Menoth, but I think the religious fervor might actually keep them in the fight a little longer. But as you can see, they've gone hollow. They've lost their inner self, so that's reflected in the actual physical presence of these guys, so that they become almost skeletal.
Yeah.
You know, so the eyes are sunken, the mouth's drawn back, the body is just sunken in on itself. And see, even a Khadoran.
Yeah.
I like the idea of these because of the idea that, yeah, people are people, and if I'm being faced by big scary monsters, I might just run.
Yeah.
You know, I might break and just go, hell no, I'm out of here.
Nobody would blame them.
No. And we do get a full unit of those with their unit attachments, which is the Lantern Man.
So is the Lantern Man there, or?
No, he's in that unit.
He's
there,
in amongst us. I see him. We'll see him when he's built.
Yeah, and those are all the weapon bits. So you get a little baggie of bits in there as well. I'm trying not to go through every last bit just because there's so much in here.
Yep.
You do get a lot in this box.
Plus, you'll get more impact when the stuff's all built anyway.
Yeah, true. Right, so this... Actually, is that...
What?
Oh, that's the 2 solos. So one of the solos is actually called, if I call it up here, Lord Longfellow, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's essentially a spider who is standing up like a human, wearing a big coat, hiding all of his arachnid bits in beneath. So if we look here, you can see his upper body, and you can see his hands are actually the legs of a spider.
Oh, that's actually really cool as well.
Clever,
It's probably one of the more creepy things I've seen.
Yeah. Now you get the rest of his bits in a little baggie here, and some of the bits for the if I can remember the name, Gorehound, which is essentially a big rabbiting hound dog with a big, long, super sticky tongue. You're going to get its legs and all the bits that you're going to need to build it. Creepy. And the last thing you get in here is the Heretic. So this is the warlock, the leader of the band.
Yep.
And that's the other thing about the Grymkin. Each warlock sort of represents a different sin. So someone who sinned in a different way and defied Menoth in a different way to actually be punished. I think my favourite one so far has to be the Child.
Which one's that?
Not in this box.
Right.
But essentially it's a little girl who basically didn't want to be obedient or anything like that, got cast down, and now she's back. She's still a small child, but she has her, essentially, imaginary friend with her who's no longer imaginary, who is this great big hulking brute of a monster with a doll's face just strapped onto it. It's cute. It's really cool.
That's no.
But for the Heretic, now this is the first time I've actually had a look at his model. The detail is superb. I love the big flowing cape. And you see the way he's holding the mask here? There's a certain symbology to this, because he used to be a priest of Menoth.
Right.
And it's sort of symbolizing the revealing of the true face of Menoth. So he's got his weapon, and then you can see his actual face here. It's a little more angry, a little less human than the mask that he's holding.
Yeah.
Then you'll of course get legs, arms, and the other bits you need. I love the idea of these. I want to actually see how this guy looks, because he actually comes with a halo too. And having seen the ones that Dallas actually built and converted, they were lovely. But the original models, I think, have a real class to them that I just really like. So there's the Heretic. I will say this. It did take me a minute to get everything sorted on War Room for myself. But I now have the list actually fully built here to actually show you everything you get. So I'll quickly read through it. The Heretic, Cage Rager, Skin and Bones, Gorehound, Witchwood, Lord Longfellow, Dreadrots, Hollow Men with Lantern Man, and Piggybacks. So that's a fair-sized force.
It is, yeah.
Alright, I'll tell you what, this is going to take a bit of time for you, John, to get all of this put together, because I do want to see the entire box built. So I think we will take a quick break here, and when we come back, we'll have a look at the built models, and have a chat about some of the rules on War Room. John, you built the Grymkin.
Yes.
How'd it go?
It took about 2 hours.
For everything?
Yeah, for everything.
There's a lot of stuff here.
There is a lot of stuff, isn't there?
You know, you've got 2 full units, your solos, your warlock, 2 heavies, and a light.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually it's 3 units, sorry.
Yeah, 3 units and all the war beasts and stuff.
Yeah.
I was actually going to say why they didn't put like a sort of build guide in to the box. But to be honest with you, if you just keep the bags separate and just build the contents of one bag at a time, it's pretty
self-explanatory.
Yeah, these models are pretty intuitive and easy to put together. So what I did was just lay the parts out and go, right, what matches that plug? What socket matches what plug? And just
so this is all just the socket and plug then.
Yeah.
And then easy enough, good connection points.
Yeah, good connection points, nice and solid. The only ones I'd be worried about would be our little spider guy.
This is Lord Longfellow, who is one of the creepiest creations they came up with. Now, I say that because I'm an arachnophobic.
Yeah, he's a huge arachnophobe.
I'm not going to hide this fact. So here he is here. As you can see, he is actually a spider wearing a long coat and a mask.
Yep.
And you can see the extra legs are actually holding lots of extra guns. So he's got 4 guns on here. I need to actually have a look on the War Room app to see exactly how that works. So, in fact, I actually have War Room up and I've built everything into it. So, yeah, let's just get stuck straight into it with Lord Longfellow. So if I can line this up, where is he? Here he is. So, Lord Longfellow. He's got, it counts as 2 dueling pistols, but he's got 4. This feels a little weird to me. He is a gunfighter, decent stat line, but it's the rules that are really going to make this faction, I think.
Yeah.
So, he has circular vision. No one ever gets backstrike bonuses against him. He's got finisher. This model gains an additional die on damage rolls against damaged models. That's nice.
Yeah.
So he's your second hit. That's not a bad choice.
It's sort of an assassin-esque sort of character.
He's a fortune hunter. This model gains an additional die on his ranged attack and ranged damage rolls against character models. Now that's important because it says additional, not boosted.
Yeah.
So you could actually have finisher and fortune hunter running at the same time, if I'm not mistaken. He's got reciprocate. When it's missed by an enemy ranged attack, immediately after the attack is resolved, this model can make 1 basic ranged attack against the attacking model.
So that's where your thoughts on him only having 2 shots but 4 pistols is coming in, because he's doing additionals.
Yeah, you can imagine him just being a very flowing sort of fighter with the guns. Well, you've seen Equilibrium where they have the gun fu.
Yeah.
Essentially, I expect him to do gun fu.
As a spider, though, he wouldn't really be flowing. He'd be very jittery and quick, I think. So that's where I would see him, sort of going, bang, bang, oh wait, no, bang, bang, sort of thing, instead of being like almost a dancer in a way.
Yeah. The one thing I love, his dueling pistol has Black Penny, which is a specialized shot, right? It's just Black Penny, nothing else. He's not like a gun mage or anything. I think he may perhaps want to be a gun mage, but he's not a gun mage.
Certainly dresses like one.
Certainly does, but Black Penny ignores the target and melee defense bonus. So he can shoot anybody he likes. And with a rat of 7, yeah, he's high on the curve.
Yeah.
Now, let's step back a second because we've kind of jumped ahead of ourselves with him. So, you're saying the build took about 2 hours?
Yeah, pretty much 2 hours on the nose.
Yeah, I love how the Force looks when it's all together.
Yeah.
And while John has been building, I've been reading to actually properly teach myself the backstory of these. So the first part of this video I was maybe a little bit garbled because I hadn't had a chance to read the book yet.
Yeah.
This faction are not evil.
You think not?
They're sort of evil, but not quite evil.
Are they in the grey area?
I can't believe it's not evil. What?
Evil without the fat? Semi-skimmed evil?
Well, you see, here's the thing. Menoth, as a god, the Menites believe he's this fiery god that we must worship.
Yeah.
And if we don't worship him, we get thrown on racks and tortured. In the beginning, Menoth did not even care about man. He was hunting the Great Worm, and he created men as basically an afterthought, essentially, from what I'm reading and seeing. Went on, hunted the worm, and then mankind was actually left to its own devices for a long time. So, hunting, gathering, living very much in tune with the natural world.
Yeah.
Menoth, however, then noticed, wait a minute, these humans' souls, they might actually have some god power in there, or godlike power in there. I need to be careful of this, otherwise my children might rise up and kill me. So he decided to give them the 4 gifts of Menoth, right? Let's see, what is it? The fire, the wall, the sheath, the law. So, fire, obvious enough. What was the second one I said? The wall is basically settlements and stuff, being able to actually live. The sheath is actually farming, Now, I'm not exactly sure. I've never heard farming and stuff called the sheaf before, but I'm sure it's out there. The last is the law, to bind men to a set way of living.
Yeah.
The warlocks of this faction, there are 5, right? Well, 5 who are in this part of the story. They all defied Menoth in some form or fashion, and depending on the way they defied him, determined what they became. So, the child. The whole concept of honor thy mother, honor thy father, do as you're told, they're above you. The child looked at it and went, no, I'm going to do my own thing here. I'll be fine on my own. You've then got the heretic, who was the first priest king of Menoth, whose history has now been expunged completely, because he actually led a rebellion against Menoth with the others. So you have the wanderer, the dreamer, the child, the heretic, and I forget the last one. It's, the hermit. I don't know if he's actually called the hermit or if it's proper name, but basically this was an old guy who just wanted to be left the hell alone.
Yeah.
Just did not like people, wanted to be out in the wilds on his own. Once the actual war started, Menoth cast them all down into the underworld, essentially the hell of the Iron Kingdoms. But they're alive, and they can't die while they're in Unseen, which is the afterlife.
Yep.
So they have spent countless years, countless centuries in this essentially hellscape where they're being tortured and reborn. And as they go through this, their powers increase and they grow. And basically the souls of those who are basically terrified of Menoth's wrath and who have heard tales of these filtered down through the ages are drawn to them. And so these guys actually start to mold and reshape these souls, which is where the Grymkin are basically made from.
Right.
Every time a soul dies on Cien, which is in the Iron Kingdoms, the veil is pierced between the two worlds. Tiny pinprick, tiny pinprick. And during that little moment of connection, a Grymkin can actually sneak out again. Now, it doesn't always work. It rarely works, to be honest with you. That and the warlocks of this faction can't get through it because they're too damn powerful. But the Grymkin are essentially sin. And they hunt down people who have committed the sins that they themselves have been committed of. So look at the piggybacks. They're gluttons. The people who are being punished. So in the book, their actual entry has essentially a little folk tale, which I think is a nice touch.
Yeah.
And the one for it is basically there was a farmer who was beginning. Fantastic, lucky guy. Your crops are failing, mine are doing great. You're dealing with a drought, I'm standing in the rain. And so eventually, as he was prospering, his holdings grew and grew and grew. But as we all know, power corrupts. And as he became more and more wealthy, more and more powerful, he began to become lazy, gluttonous, didn't want to help his fellow man. Until one night someone came to him asking for help whenever he was at the height of his despotery, I'm going to say.
Yeah, okay.
He denied them, and so he was cursed by this person. And that night, he wakes up to hear his pigs screaming and yowling from their pen, steps outside to see that they've stood up on their hind legs, and they chase him into the fields and totter towards him. They then stomp his ass into the ground, and the biggest of them jumps onto his back, crushing him down into this small gnome-like creature that has to bear the weight of his sins for the rest of eternity.
Yeah.
And that's where you get piggybacks from. Also, when the piggybacks are built, they look gorgeous.
They do.
Horrifyingly gorgeous. And you see the poor little dude on the bottom.
Yeah, you wonder what his was.
Yeah, and they actually tie that strip of cloth across his face as well. Rules-wise, the piggybacks I have not looked at. And this was actually an argument that came up during SmogCon when I was there. Can the piggybacks be snack food for like Trollkind and stuff? Because they're essentially the ethereal stuff of dreams, I believe the answer to that is no. But let me call up their thing here. The artwork's gorgeous in this faction as well, by the way. So, here we have a 5-man unit of them. You've got the option to take them as a 3-pig unit. I'll say pig unit instead of man unit.
Yeah.
Other than that, they've got a lot of special rules. This is the thing with this faction. This is quite complicated for a faction. So you'd want to have a bit of experience to actually play it and to actually learn it. I'd say the learning curve on this one's going to be pretty damn high.
Yeah.
They've got the shield wall order. They're starting at armor 13, but the shield wall's giving them a +4, bringing them to a 17, which is pretty damn respectable. That's jack levels.
Yeah.
They are tough, which is great. Which is basically in a game that essentially doesn't have saves, you get a saving throw when you die and get a chance to essentially keep going. They have snacking, so when this model boxes a living model with a melee attack, it can choose to remove the box model from play. When it does, this model can remove D3 damage points from itself. Useful. It's also got brutal charge, so he gets +2 to the charge. So these things squealing and howling as they come across the field at you is going to be terrifying. There's a lot to go through in this, guys, so I'm not going to do all the stat lines, because otherwise we'll be here all day.
Yeah.
Let's do the Heretic next.
Okay. He's like the feature model of the...
This is the heart of your army.
Yeah.
The Heretic himself, you can see him, this pose, that unmasking sort of pose where you see the true face of God, because I think he actually started to consider himself a bit godlike.
Yeah.
Because the power that he has, he sees it is akin to Menoth.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole idea that he could eventually have the power of God, which actually happened to, I think it was Morrow in the backstory.
Yeah.
Who was a human who became a god. And so you have the Signarin Morrow faith.
Yeah.
So that's where that comes from. Details are gorgeous on him. And his rules. Oh my god, his rules.
So you better show them, man.
Don't rush me.
Just saying.
Alright, so rules-wise, this guy is good god. So, decent stat line. He's got speed 6, strength 7, mat 7, rat 3. He's not going to be shooting much. Focus 7 is great.
Mm-hmm.
Defense 15 and armor 15, also great. The big thing is his weapon.
Mm.
His weapon is fantastic because it has guided. Guided reads, attacks made with this weapon automatically hit. I don't care what your defense is. I'm going to hit you for power and strength 13. Plus any buffs that I get.
Yeah.
It also has dispel, so whenever you hit enemy model or unit, they lose upkeep spells. He's got godlike power. During its activation, this model can cast any non-animus spell that was cast by an enemy warlock or warcaster while in this model's control range during your opponent's last turn. So he can basically steal spells from everybody. Alright, I'll swipe across to his actual spell list because he's got a lot of stuff. This right here is why I'm going to say this is probably not the most starter-friendly faction.
Yeah.
This is for more experienced players. You'll notice here, there's no feat.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, you have these trumps and the arcana. These are all the little tricks that this guy can play. And look how many there are. Still going, still going, still going. There's a lot. Spells-wise, he has a couple of power 13 ones that he can throw out that are doing... basically debuffs. He's got rebuke. Target model unit cannot give orders, receives orders, or make power attacks or special attacks. So basically, if you don't want a warjack headbutting you don't want doing a throw power attack, you can lock them down with this. He's also got Fury. Target friendly faction model or unit gains +3 to melee damage rolls, but also suffers -1 defense.
Yeah.
For this guy, that's not so bad. If he's going in with Fury on him, that's +3, bringing that up to a power and strength auto hit of 16.
Yeah.
So you're going to start taking lumps out of stuff with that 7 focus. So you'll buy 5 attacks with his initial. You're going to take -4 off most things that are heavy. And if it's infantry, he's just going to wipe through them.
He's a warlock/warcaster killer.
Honestly, unit killer, I would say.
I wouldn't throw him at a unit because if you start rolling bad, I know you're getting the auto hits, but at the same time, like you don't want to risk your lead unit.
If it's power and strength 16 auto hitting onto infantry that are 1-box infantry, and he can buy 6 attacks, he can pretty much wipe out min units. Just going whap, goodbye.
True.
As well as that, he's got Wall of Fire. Place the wall template anywhere completely within the spellcaster's control range. That's important because you can't sort of shimmy it out and put it right to the edge of it to get that little bit of extra range. Where it does not touch a model's base, an obstruction, or an obstacle. When a model enters or ends its activation in the wall template, it suffers an unboostable power 12 fire damage roll and the fire continuous effect. Models within the fire template or within the wall template gain concealment. So you can throw out lots of different like tools and buffs and stuff.
Yeah.
Which I think is a real toolbox caster. Or lock, sorry. What do we want to look at next? What's your favourite here? Or have I already shown it?
What is my favourite?
Because I know you like Lord Longfellow.
Yeah, but he's a classy fella.
Yes. He's a sir.
He's a sir. Yeah,
it's a sir because I don't know.
We're going for these.
Oh, the Dreadrots.
Yeah.
All right.
Because Lloyd and I both love the aesthetic of these guys. So
Yeah. All right. So I'll grab a few of these. You do get a full unit, but the whole concept with these guys is really cool. So here they are, looking really badass. Essentially, like scarecrows come to life with jack-o'-lanterns for heads.
Yep.
So the whole concept is now that the Grymkin are back in the real world, they're having a harvest, the Wicked Harvest, I believe it's called.
Yeah.
So these guys, the souls that they're going to harvest are essentially farmers who are lazy, drunkards, who don't want to do work, who do harm against their neighbors. And like the folklore tale that comes with their unit entry is actually really cool. So it's actually told from the perspective of a little boy whose dad is a drunkard who likes to go out at night and basically sow weeds and break up his neighbor's fields. And whenever these guys come and get you, you better be afraid. And the thing is, because all of these folk tales are being passed down through the ages, people sort of know what these are when they see them. These are the boogeyman.
These are the things of your nightmares, sort of.
Yeah, those things that your mum and dad warned you about. You know, oh, my little son, you better behave, or the Grymkin will come and get you and take you away and put you in a sack.
It's so cool that because this is such an odd faction. Yeah. Every other faction in Hordes and in War Machine makes a fair amount of sense in the real world.
Yeah.
But they've just taken this and went, what would be awesome if, like, you know, behind the whole veil and everything, you know, just all your nightmares were actually just the little stories that you were told as a child, and oh, by the way, they're real. Yeah,
but here's the thing. The only reason these guys are back in reality is because of the old Witch of Kedor.
Yeah.
Right? The whole thing is, well, now, she's not human. She's another form of life.
She's something else, yeah.
But she has taken on human-like qualities. She's basically using these guys to fight an even darker evil that's hiding beyond of the veil. So there are even darker forces out there.
It's wheels within wheels.
It's Inception.
No!
The darkness within the darkness of the darkness. And it has its own darkness. But no, basically, with her, she has always been like that master puppeteer from the background. Like, she even has plans that if she can't control these anymore, she has lined up and primed people to actually take them down and crush them. You know, so she's taking no chances. She can actually fight with these guys as a warlock, because you've seen the pictures of the sort of battle engine warlock that she has.
Yeah.
Oh, Scrapjack got an upgrade. Alright, let's have a look at some of the Hollow Men.
Yeah, the Hollow Men are really cool.
Actually, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself.
We didn't show
the rules for the Dreadrots.
Goodness sake.
Here we go. So, Dreadrots, beautiful artwork. They have tough, they're weapon masters. Oh, yes.
Of course they would be. They're using pitchforks and scythes.
Yep. Well, which is what they probably would have used in previous lives.
Yep.
They have a couple of special rules here, so I'll call them out to everybody. Bagman, a model disabled by a melee attack made by this model cannot make a tough roll. Beautiful. I love ways to get around tough.
Yep.
When this model boxes a living or undead enemy model with a melee attack, this model gains the box model's corpse token, and the box model is removed from play. This model can have up to one corpse token on it at any one time. Well, I suppose you can only fit one body in the bag.
Unless you cut it up real good.
Well, you know, I doubt it's really going to take time to just slice it up neatly and Tetris it into the bag.
Probably not.
It does have victuals you can neither raise nor buy. At any time during its activation, while within 5 of this model, a friendly non-dead rot model, or non-dread rot model, that can gain corpse tokens, can remove corpse tokens from this model and place them on itself. So basically, these guys gather up corpse tokens, reap the harvest of people, and pass them out to the other units in the force that are going to want to use them. Very cool.
Very.
Hollowman!
Hollowman.
Alright, so I'll just do the main unit, I'll not do the Lantern Man.
Well, and is the Lantern Man the solo?
He's this, no, he's the unit attachment.
Yeah.
So it's this guy at the front. I will show him off.
Yeah.
But for right now, I want to focus on the actual models. Because these guys are literally deserters who have been basically taken into the cause of the Grymkin. So they come from all militaries, all walks of life. Nice mixture of different sort of armors and styles and stuff.
Yep.
Not to mention ranks, because commanders can run too.
Yeah. So you do see a little bit of like sort of Signar styling in there with the tricorn, and like there are Khador caps and stuff in there too.
Yeah, you've got the guys with the Unshanka.
Yep.
So basically, these guys are unfortunately now members of the Grymkin. However, they are one of the few ranged attack units that I have seen in this force. So they have military rifles. That just has to account for it being a mixture of Kadoran rifles, Signaran rifles, whatever.
Yep.
The unit can either be leader in 5 grunts or leader in 9 grunts. Stat line: speed 5, strength 6, mat 5, rat 5, def 12, not bad, armor 12, They can also do a combined ranged attack, which is good. The rifle itself is range 10, rate of fire 1, power 11. Not bad. It's good for duking it out, you know, being a bit of a speed bump unit. But what they have is apparition. During your control phase, place this model anywhere within 2 of its current locations. So these guys get a little bit of extra movement. They're actually running around like movement 7.
Yep.
You also get brutal charge, which is +2 to the charge attack and damage rolls. Or charge attack damage rolls, not attack and damage rolls. That's important.
Yep.
But the Lantern Man is basically the recruiter for these guys, and he is so creepy.
He really is creepy, isn't he?
He reminds me of the old boatman from the River Styx.
Yeah.
You know, he's got that vibe about him. But again, even he looks like he may have been a military man at one point, maybe a scout or something.
He was bound to have been a ranger of some sort, maybe.
Possibly. Overall, I think this faction is going to be fantastic to put on the tabletop. Now for my favourite, the one that I've been hanging off on. Where is it? There it is. The Witchwood.
I kind of figured this would be your favourite.
I love the design of it. It's such a classic horror model. Look at it. You have this big gnarly tree with a hangman's noose on it, of course.
Yep.
The whole thing is this actually was a hanging tree where witches get hung. The thing is, sometimes you might hang an innocent, and whenever that innocent is dead, they come back to actually take revenge. So this little woman here is essentially the lure to draw people in. Basically, don't pay attention to her, pay attention to the tree behind her that's probably going to munch you.
Yeah.
It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous bit of actual sculpting and work. You know,
it really is.
To actually bring the faction to life.
And probably, I'll say it now, probably the easiest model to build out of the whole box.
Really?
Yeah, it was very sort of, where does it go? Oh, I can see the plug. Done. Sort of very straightforward, build that one.
You also get another, I'm not going to read the stat lines on this one. People, you can wait and actually check it out for yourselves. That is one thing I've also discovered. So, you've got the stats on War Room, but I believe, Privateer also have the cards up, and you are able to actually download them.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure if that's something that's out to the public or something that I was passed to actually just get a look at them myself. So, whenever you actually lay your hands on this, there is a link on the back of the box. Go check that out, and you should be able to hunt them down.
Yeah.
Right, Rage Cager. He's big. He's angry.
He would be very annoying to paint.
Really?
He'd be a challenge to paint because you have those skeletons inside those cages. You've got to start.
Not paint them in bits?
Yeah, you'd have to paint them in bits, but it kind of forces you to do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, could you leave one half of the cage off to actually paint the skeleton?
Yeah, you probably could.
Or would you just paint the skeleton completely and then glue it in?
I'm not sure. I'm honestly not sure.
Yeah. You see, you don't really see much of the skeletons, so as long as you get a nice bright white on them with a bit of a wash, you should be okay.
True.
Rage Cager, though, stats-wise, I am curious. Fury 4, Threshold 8, not bad. His Animus is Wraithbane. Cost 2, range 6, duration turn, non-offensive. Target friendly faction models, weapon gains the blessed and the damage type magical. Wraithbane lasts for 1 turn. So basically, if you're fighting like cricks or something, you can make magic weapons to hit pistol race and stuff, which is quite good. He's got the giblets, which are magical weapons. So he's actually going to swing those around with the skeletons in them for a power and strength of 17. that's going to hurt.
Yeah.
And then I think I've got the Skin and Bones and the Hound still to show off.
Yep.
Skin and Bones is so good. This is one of the great ones. So the whole idea of this thing is, this is a soul with no face to call its own, so it strips the flesh off its enemies and stitches it to itself, which is why you have the faces and stuff actually just showing up on this model.
Yeah.
The texture of it's brilliant, actually seeing that mix of sort of dry, husked flesh and then the glistening muscles in below. I think painters are going to have a great time with this.
Definitely. And the Hound?
Well, no.
Or do you
I
want
want
to
to
talk
see if
about it?
it's animus. I want to talk about its animus because that's one of the special things for Hordes.
Okay.
It's got Lurker. Cost 1, range self, duration turn, non-offensive. The spellcaster gains Pathfinder and Bushwhack. Lurker lasts for 1 turn. During its activation, a model with Bushwhack can make its combat action before its normal movement. If it does, it must make a full advance at its normal movement that activation. So basically, if it's in with something and it's about to die, Lurker, kill it, and run away.
Yeah.
Nice touch. Alright, the last one is the Gorehound.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this one I wasn't able to show off quite so well in the first part of this video, just because it had quite a few little bits to it.
Yeah.
But here he is. Look at it! Ah, nightmare fuel, right there.
Don't you just want to take him for a walk?
No. I do not want to take this thing for a walk because it might chew my leg off.
Oh, yeah.
This is not a good pup.
I'd take it for a walk.
No, I would not even try to boop the snoot of this pup.
I'd throw some...
Would you boop its snoot?
Yes.
You'd lose a hand.
With a very long stick. I'd then throw that stick into a crowd of people I didn't like. And be like, this was a good day.
Okay, so for this thing, it's got its bite, which is actually range 2, which isn't bad. So it's got a 2-inch melee range on it. I'm guessing that's the big tongue just lashing out and drawing you in.
Quite possibly.
Power and strength of 12 is not bad, but it's animus. It's got lightning strike, cost 1 self, duration of turn, non-offensive. Spellcaster gains sprint. Lightning strike lasts for 1 turn. At the end of an activation in which it destroyed or removed from play 1 or more enemy models with a melee attack, a model with sprint can immediately make a full advance, then its activation ends. Not bad. There's a lot of movement tricks and stuff in here. But that's the one other thing I didn't notice until I read through the book. For the actual warlocks of this faction, the rules at the back of the book actually have some charts. So if I can get to it here. Move. Go. Where are you? So you've got the theme forces, but State of War Defiers, right? So Defiers is a generalized term for the warlocks. Each of them has this little chart that they can roll on to do some funky stuff to the table. Because these guys have came from the underworld, they actually have the ability to change reality around themselves.
Right.
You roll on this chart to see what you might get. So let's pick one. Let's go with the King of Nothing. That's the one I couldn't remember. So, on a roll of 1 or 2, you'll get nothing at all. Effects and rules: remove a chosen piece of terrain and do not replace it. He can actually delete a bit of terrain. So if you're in like a tournament or something, and there's a bit of terrain that you really don't want there,
get rid of that.
Yeah, if you're lucky, because you are, I do believe, rolling these on a d6. You also get things like, for the Wanderer, he's got Rattling Bog. Effects and rules. I'll not read the fluff bit. Place a shallow water terrain feature while within a rattling bog terrain feature. Models suffer -2 defense. Models beginning their activations within a rattling bog terrain feature suffer -2 speed. So you can really play about with some of the effects and stuff that's going to be happening on the table.
Those abilities are what's giving the Grymkin that sort of supernatural element to them. You know, because you always know like spellcasters are going to be quite ethereal and quite powerful in their own way. They're using magic, for goodness sake. But these guys are starting to really play with what the table's doing, and you have to sort of watch out for that. There's
actually also a little campaign scenario in here, which is quite cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's 3 campaign scenarios to play through in this. That's a nice touch. We've then also got some beautiful galleries just showing off the lovely paintwork of these.
Yeah.
And oh, actually, that's cool.
Little painting guide.
Yeah. Let me see if I can call this up and make it look good. So you've got this, but here's what I noticed: you don't have just for this paint scheme. You have for another, and for another, and it's doing that for both of these.
Yeah.
And then I think at the end, there's a gallery of how different people have painted these.
Yep.
So that's really nice.
I will point out that this is what all of the more recent Armies of books have been doing.
Really?
Yeah. We have a couple of the War Machine ones in here that we've been using, and that's exactly how they've been laid out. But it's the perfect way to do it. Don't just show the studio scheme. Just go for it and just send the models out to a few painters and then do something crazy, you know. Yeah.
So see, that's the key with this one more than anything else, is because these are the nightmare creatures. you can paint them however you want.
Yeah.
I could paint those pigs blue.
Yeah.
And it might still work, because if you do it right, oh yeah, that's just showing that they're an ethereal creature of deep dreams.
Yeah, actually, while I was building the Hollow Man,
yeah,
I'd actually considered trying to paint them as if they were black and white photographs. Do you like that sort of monochrome, but have a grainy look to them as well, make them just look not quite right.
Yeah.
In a way. Whether or not I have the skills to do that, Dallas, you can let me know. You can let me know how you would do that. That would be cool.
That would be really interesting, though. All right, so that's the Grymkin. I think the only thing that makes me nervous for this entire box is that no paperwork in the box.
Yes, but as we know, it's not a get started with the faction box. It's a get the faction box.
Yeah, but it's more than that. It's that no stat cards now having to go via digital means to actually lay them in.
Yeah,
I know it's something Privateer have been talking about for a very long time.
Yeah,
I mean, I think I was hearing about it. I think I was even hearing about it at SmugCon.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out, because it's a bit of a barrier. It's an additional step that you need to take to actually get your miniatures on the table.
Yes, but at the same time, you remember when they were over visiting and it was 100% War Room.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yes.
Yes. I brought in cards and they were like, "But we have that on War Room."
Yeah.
And like we were using the app and I was like, "Actually, this is pretty intuitive."
It really is an intuitive app.
Yes, I get the point. Yes, you need a tablet or something with you, but
yeah, I mean, like the pros of it.
There's a lot of people have tablets these days.
Yeah, but the pros.
Yeah.
Any erratas, they can instantly change.
Yeah, so
they
your
don't
cards
have to worry about out-of-date cards.
Yeah, your stat cards will always be up to date on War Room.
Yeah. They don't actually have to make cards anymore, so that's a cost thing that's helping the company out.
Yep.
Cons, if they're doing it with like battle boxes and stuff, it's an additional step to actually get the stuff down on the table, but I don't know if they're doing it with those yet, because I haven't seen any that have been done that way.
Yeah, what I'd say they'll probably end up doing is when you get like your faction starter, it'll be a booklet, and the booklet will have. So you just play the starter box with the booklet, and then when you move on to the app, you don't need that anymore.
Yeah, you move on to the app or the card downloads, if I'm right in that they are available to actually get down.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, for a faction, I love the concept.
Mm-hmm.
From the moment I saw that first trailer, I loved the concept of these. I think on the tabletop, it's going to be an interesting faction to play. It's going to be a tricksy faction. You're not going to have the same sort of mindset of, I can plan everything out. There are going to be those moments where it's just like, oh, you killed this unit. Well, I'm going to take revenge on you now because my guys are now getting a bonus.
Yeah.
Things like that are going to be happening. So it's going to be a very mutable, very sort of changeable game you're going to play with this. It's going to be a very different faction to play.
Yeah.
Right. I think the only thing left to do is pass it out to everyone out there. Everybody, do you like the idea of this core army box? Do you like the models? Do you like the concept behind the Grymkin? Why wouldn't you, of course? We'll move on here, and we will see you in the next one.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now, and be sure to check out beastsofwar.com for the latest gaming news and gaming Let's Plays. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe, and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.